Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here at today's. Let's see, today is We Can Do It, Women in Apprenticeship. It's November 18th. Happy to have all you high school districts here and everyone else in the community that's joining us. So a big welcome from us for National Apprenticeship Week. Today, we have some panelists and some great speakers here to share with you some information. I'm Rosalinda Rivas. I am the Apprenticeship Director here at Moreno Valley College. I also serve as president for the California Placement Association. And I'm going to turn it over to our co-host, Keith. Keith, if you could introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks so much, Rosalinda. Great to be here this morning. My name is Keith Gemmel. I'm with the City of Moreno Valley's Economic Development Department, and I oversee our business and workforce development programs. Most notably is our Business and Employment Resource Center, which is in America's Job Center of California here. And so it's been great partnering with Rosalinda as we've put together a few different programs this week for National Apprenticeship Week. And this is our third, and I've actually been looking forward to this the most. I think I'm really excited to hear from our panelists today.
Wonderful. Adele, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, folks. My name is Adele Burns. I am the Deputy Chief at California's Division of Apprenticeship Standards, and I'm very happy to join today.
Wonderful. Ellen, if you could introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Ellen Sockeye, Regional Director of Strategic Partnerships with the State of California's Division of Apprenticeship Standards.
Wonderful. John.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the Apprenticeship Director at Riverside City College.
Wonderful, thank you. And then I see, let's see, I want to say it's Vanessa, correct? Wonderful. Vanessa, if you could introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vanessa Ingles, and I am a journeyman wireman with the Electricians the Union for Riverside County. That's IBEW Local 440. And I'm also the founder of the Tradeswomen Sisterhood. And we provide resources to women in the building trades.
Wonderful. Bill, if you'd introduce yourself, please, sir.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. Bill Perez, Executive Secretary, Business Manager for the Building Construction Trades Council of the Inland Empire.
Wonderful. Angelina.
You'll have to excuse my voice. It's going out. I'm Angelina Alcantar. I'm a full-time faculty member for the automotive program here at Riverside City College.
Wonderful. Thank you. Rosie.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lisa Iseros. I'm an instructor at the Whittier Training Center for the Southwest Carpenters Training Fund, and I run the Boots program, which is all for women who are interested in getting into the trades.
Fantastic. Mila, and the carpenters, yes. Mila, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. My name is Camila Williams, and I'm the Executive Assistant here for the San Bernardino Riverside County Building and Construction Trades Council. And forgive me for the screen. I'm doing about 10 projects right now.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you for joining us. I also want to introduce Alexandria Rivas. If you could, I'm not sure if you're able to show your video, Alexandria, while you introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, sorry. I'm Alexandria Rivas. I'm a maintenance technician at CNW Services. So I wish I could say more, but that's it. That's all I do.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Just want to turn this over to Adele Burns. We're going to go ahead and get started, and she'll share a little bit of what's going on with the state of California with apprenticeship as it pertains to registered apprenticeship throughout our state. So Adele, without any—
Actually, Rosalinda, before we go there, I wanted to just quickly go over, we had one question come in, and this might be helpful for everybody. They asked if we could share contact information from our panelists for people to reach out. So if we can, well, panelists will go ahead and type in our names and titles and contact information to get a hold of our organizations. And likewise, students, we'd love to know, or if you're with a college or if you're with a business, we'd love to know who you are as well. So go ahead and share all that information in the chat box. Sorry to interrupt, Rosalinda.
Oh, no, great. I'm so glad that you're checking the chat box. And that's one of the things that Keith and I will be doing. We'll be going back and forth and helping one another. So he's always got a great eye and to be able to catch that. So yeah, so I would say when for us on the panelists, when we have an opportunity, if we could type in our name and information for them, that'd be great. Make sure that you scroll down to where it says everyone so that they can see it. Otherwise, it'll just go to us and it'll be for eyes only. So
yeah, and with that, please feel free to ask questions at any time using the chat box or the Q&A feature. Rosalinda and I will monitor that, and when we have an opportunity, we'll answer those questions.
Absolutely, thank you. All right, Adele, we're passing the torch to you. So without any further ado, this is Miss Adele Burns, and she is with the Department of Apprenticeship Standards. As she mentioned, she is our Deputy Chief of Policy and Strategy here in California. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for joining us here as We Can Do It. Yes.
Lovely. Well, happy National Apprenticeship Week, everyone. I'm not sure if everyone knows this, but it is indeed the week nationally that U.S. Department of Labor declares as National Apprenticeship Week. And this event is part of a series of events that I know have been happening in the Inland Empire around apprenticeship. So it is an honor to be here and join you all for this gathering. So as Rosalinda said, I am the Deputy Chief over at California's Division of Apprenticeship Standards. And for follow-up purposes, I also want to highlight that I am joined here by my colleague, Ellen, who is focused specifically on your region. And so she will also be a resource to you all as you consider setting up new programs, as you have questions about our existing programs. So she is definitely here as a great resource to your region. So I am thrilled to join today because if you are somebody who is considering apprenticeship as a pathway, which I know is part of the focus of this conversation, you have just found what I think is like the best kept secret in education, which is that it turns out there's an earn and learn pathway into a career. I feel like when I was 16 years old, nobody told me that that was an option. And so I am really happy to be one of the many voices here of telling you about some options that are available to you. And I think as young folks consider what is their next step beyond high school, or maybe you're somebody who's just a young person who's kind of trying to chart your pathway into a career, apprenticeship is an amazing pathway to consider. Like I said, it is an earn and learn pathway. So apprenticeship fundamentally, it's a job, right? Like it's a job that you get, but it's a job that is designed to be an entry-level job that is supported to get you into a career, right? So an apprentice gets assigned a mentor so that they are learning on the job. So you're earning and making money, earning a full wage, often with benefits. And at the same time, that is being complemented by some classroom instruction. I think, we'll hear some examples today of different apprenticeships that you can consider. But I would say a typical program is usually somewhere between 30 to 40 hours of working plus 8 to 10 hours of classes in a week. And you are earning a full living wage. And amazingly, in the state of California, one of the ways that we are encouraging apprenticeship is that essentially the state of California picks up the bill on your education. So for you, the education is free. Again, if you come away with nothing else, come away with that. Your education will be free. The college courses for an apprenticeship are completely taken care of by the state of California. So no charge to the employer, no charge to the apprentice. So it's a phenomenal pathway, right? Like we're not asking anyone to not make money and go into debt to go into college. Like this is a pathway to get you immediately into earning, learning on the job, and upskilling into a career. And I know we have on the panel today lots of different folks who will tell you about different careers. But I think fundamentally it's getting into a career with no debt and with earning power along the way, which is just so important. And there are lots of different pathways. I learned about the carpenter's pathway this week, that it actually, this particular one that I was learning about, the wages start at like $50 an hour. And by the time you complete your apprenticeship, you're making $80 an hour. That's a really good wage, right? So many of these apprenticeships are really catapulting you into the kind of career that can be a family sustaining wage. So obviously there's many different career pathways. That's just one example. And a lot of my work actually is to try to expand apprenticeship to many different occupations. So maybe you've heard of apprenticeship and maybe you associate it with the building trades, which is not an incorrect association, because as we'll hear today, there are lots of building trades apprenticeships. However, what my work as Deputy Chief with this focus on strategy and policy is really to try to expand apprenticeship to lots of different career pathways, to healthcare, to technology, to cybersecurity, education, basically, I would like there to be an apprenticeship in every corner of our economy. If you want to get into a career, you can get into that career potentially by going to school, if that's an option for you to just do school, but maybe that's not an option for you, or maybe you're not the kind of learner that you think you learn best in a classroom. And I think apprenticeship is a great pathway to consider if you're more of a learn by doing kind of person, and it gets you into working, learning on the job, getting some of that classroom time, but that classroom time is immediately relevant to the job that you have, which I think helps bring that education alive in a different way. And so I'm really motivated around expanding the opportunities. And I know that in the Inland Empire, there's lots of really cool initiatives happening to expand it into advanced manufacturing, healthcare, education. There's some cool programs, just another great example of like wage opportunities. I know there's a program that's a licensed vocational nurse to registered nurse program that leads to 135% increase in your wages over the course of the apprenticeship. So again, these are pathways into the kind of jobs that will really allow you to sustain a family, to support a family. So thank you, Ellen, for putting into the chat the link to where you can go search for different apprenticeship opportunities. And yeah, with that, I'm very excited to hand it over to many of the folks that you will hear from today to get more examples. And again, I do have to drop off soon. This is National Apprenticeship Week. There are a tremendous number of events happening this week, but again, Ellen is here to support you all and answer any questions that you have.
My mouse is flying. Hold on. Do you have maybe about a minute just in case there might be one or two questions that you can answer? And then,
sure. Okay,
great. So if anyone has a question or two really quick.
So we do have a question in the chat box. One said, is the apprenticeship program available for both men and women?
Of course. Absolutely. All apprenticeship programs are open to everyone. What you'll find is that each apprenticeship program has different requirements for entry. And so you can follow that website that Ellen put in the chat, the dir.ca.gov/DAS, and you can surf around the different occupations, click through to their websites, understand what are the requirements for each individual apprenticeship. But in general, the idea of an apprenticeship is that it's a role that's designed to be for somebody who probably only has a high school diploma. Maybe you have a little bit of community college experience, but that's typically not required. And it definitely does not require a bachelor's or an associate's degree to get into. So the whole idea of an apprenticeship is that it's creating an on-ramp into a career that does not require the college education. And it's, you know, as I've articulated, I think you should see it as a sort of learn by doing pathway. And many folks will do an apprenticeship and discover, hey, I really love this industry and I want to go back and get my associates or my bachelor's in some area. And that's great. Or many people that will become their occupation that they have for the rest of their careers. But yes, it is 100% open to men and women. And, you know, different jobs are going to have different requirements. I think we'll hear from the panel today about what it takes in certain careers. Some careers might be more physically demanding while others are not. So I think you just have to consider your own, what you're excited about doing and pick a path accordingly. And, you know, but I want to also just reiterate that there are many career pathways opening up with the pathway of apprenticeship, from, you know, being in cybersecurity, being a software developer, you know, becoming a nurse, becoming a teacher. So you don't have to only think about the trades. But yes, absolutely, apprenticeships are open to men and women.
Wonderful.
Thanks so much.
You. Before you leave, can we do one quick LinkedIn photograph? Because you're not going to be on here.
Sure,
we usually do it at
yes.
the end, but definitely want to highlight you being here with all of us. So I'm not sure if Mila and Alexandria, if you could unvideo yourself really quick for maybe 15 seconds. And then what I'm going to ask everyone else, if we could go ahead and give a thumbs up to everybody here. So really quick thumbs up and a big smile. Ladies, I always say, I forgot, fluff your hair. Gentlemen, handle your due.
Okay, my thumb is up.
1, 2, and 3. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. On behalf
Awesome.
of Moreno Valley College, the Burke Center, the City of Moreno Valley, San Bernardino Connect, the Inland Empire Building and Construction Trades, IBEW, the Carpenters Union. Who am I missing? I know DAS, of course. And I'm sure I'm missing some others here, all the volunteers that we have being part of the panelists. We want to thank you, Adele Burns, for being here and joining us on We Can Do It. And we thank you for joining all the other events that you're doing today. So have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. And I apologize, I can't stay for the whole thing. I know it's going to be an awesome event.
Thank you. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a great day. All right, Keith, if you want to kick us off to the next
Yeah,
one.
so actually, Rosalinda, I was able to pull up the video from RCCD's launch about apprenticeships. Would you like to play that?
Oh, that's wonderful. If you have it, would you go ahead and share
Yeah,
with all of
let's
us?
put it up on the screen here. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll make sure my sound is being shared before I hit play. And let me know if it's not coming through.
Looks like it's up. Let's go.
Apprenticeships aren't what they used to be. For centuries, skilled professionals passed their knowledge down to the next generation. But over time, we gave up that heritage. And our students, job seekers, and businesses ultimately suffered for it.
There is a gap in the education system where we really missed out on vocational training over the last 20 years.
The reality is that there are a number of industries that are really struggling, and it's harming them in terms of their productivity and their ability to do what they do because they can't find the talent.
We were unable to get qualified applicants. We've used staffing agencies, we've used resources, personal resources. We were hiring neighbors, we were hiring family members that worked here, and the match was not perfect because they were not on the path that we were looking for.
Apprenticeship has reached a tipping point. Today, educators all over the nation are proving apprenticeships are vital again, as they forge partnerships with local business all over, combining what is learned in the class with skills obtained in the field.
It's very different from the classroom because when you have that hands-on training, then it's a whole different world.
My view of school has definitely changed since the apprenticeship started. Just getting to apply those same hands-on skills. I think a lot of us like to use that term, you know, when am I ever going to use this? Like, now I actually have an answer for that question. And so you can start to value what you really want to hang on to and what you might be able to pass on to someone else down the road.
The combination of actually going to school and incorporating that knowledge here, and the other way around too, the knowledge from here, bring that into going to a class, yeah, that works really good together.
It's about launching students' careers and serving businesses.
The long goal is what I'm looking at right now, to where I can actually advance my career and not stay in one spot for too long.
So the apprenticeship program is a great effort. It couples education and on-the-job training. This program really allows me a stepping stone to get into the educational system and create those career academies that can teach these skill sets at a much wider range across a broader audience to really produce valuable employees for the entire region.
These apprentices that we are getting, they're on a path that they have chosen, and it happens to mesh perfectly with what we need.
And it's educators who are responsible for leading this charge.
I think what educators need to know about careers in the guitar industry is that it's kind of a trade-based job, sort of like being a master carpenter or an electrician, something like that. It's a lot more hands-on and skill-oriented than it is traditional education.
I see it as a great foundation for a career in our company because the more they learn, the better they are, is the better we are as a company. Because you're teaching them a career. You're not just sending them to do a job. While you're teaching them, they're preparing themselves for the future.
There's a lot of opportunity to learn, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of people that will want to share that knowledge, and that's a very good environment to be in.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you for that, Keith. Great.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to show that. You know, RCCD launch is a great program here right in the Inland Empire, and we talked about that in depth yesterday with our businesses and other employers. But going along with our agenda, we'll talk a little bit more about what apprenticeships look like today in actual career fields with people who are working in the industry. Moving on to our next area here, I'm pulling up my agenda. Sorry, my screen got a little messy with running that up. We're going to pass the buck over a little bit to our Trades Council. So if Bill, you're ready, we'd love to hear from you a little bit more about what apprenticeships are looking like in the construction and building trades.
Sure. Thank you, Keith. And once again, welcome everybody. I appreciate all the work that went into this, and especially to our those that are tuning in to learn more about apprenticeship, registered apprenticeship, and I can speak about the construction related apprenticeship programs. Of course, when I like that last video, because what it talks about most importantly is using that apprenticeship model for careers and trades that are not normally building trades, that can really use that apprenticeship model and that earn while you learn training model. So I'm really proud to be a part of apprenticeship, even though it's in the construction industry, because it's a valuable training tool for any occupations and many more occupations than are actually being utilized in today. So thank you for that. So in the two counties we have, San Bernardino and Riverside counties, we represent 29 local unions covering 14 international unions, approximately 16,000 members of those construction unions in the Inland Empire. And there are 18 apprenticeable class crafts within those 29 local unions, each representing their own specific training programs that are overseen by labor and management. So what that means is that the apprenticeship committees are made up of equal numbers of union representatives and contractor representatives in the respective trades. So when we talk about union apprenticeships, I want to make sure everybody understands these are actually industry apprenticeships. Contractors are 50% of the success of all these programs, as well as the representatives of unions. We're proud of the fact that there are approximately an investment of the trades and the unions and the contractors that are involved in the industry, approximately $2 billion a year into a registered apprenticeship for construction trades. And of course, that represents close to 73,000 new apprentices enrolled annually across the United States in North America Building Trades Unions apprenticeship programs. More than 1,600 U.S. training centers throughout the United States, providing the hands-on training facilities that each of the apprenticeships is going to require. In California, more specifically, 2/3 of California apprentices in construction are people of color, and 97% of all females in construction programs are in the union registered apprenticeship program. So we have a long way to go, but we have a great foundation to get there. And I'm really happy to see that this program is on today as just one of the programs covered in National Apprenticeship Week. We had a super successful career day over Apprenticeship Career Day over in Moreno Valley on Tuesday. Everybody that's I'm looking at today was there all day as well. So, and thank you especially to those women in the trades that work tirelessly to talk to young women about the opportunities in the trades, because it's a very difficult thing for some people to understand that have not really had somebody to talk to that looks like them. So very pleased that we have some really great talented young people to be able to talk about the women in the trades. So thank you for that, and I'll be hanging around to take any questions.
Right now would be a great opportunity if anybody has questions about building trades or construction trades for Bill. We do have a couple guest speakers on here that will talk about their experiences working in individual sectors of the overall industry. But does anybody have any questions at this time? Again, you can type in any questions using the chat box or the Q&A feature at the bottom. I have somebody who raised their hand. Rosalinda?
Yeah, I have one question, Bill. I know that individuals and women and young men also, how do they get involved? Like, let's say they're not really sure. How do you recommend to get them involved with all the Inland Empire, whether it's at Riverside, San Bernardino County, and then let's take it at a global, or not a global, but for the state of California as well. Can you share a little bit about that and your recommendations on how they can get more information and find out?
Sure. We have a comprehensive list of all the craft apprenticeship programs on our website. You can visit iebuildingtrades.org, click on apprenticeships, and you see a full listing of all the craft apprenticeship programs there. So say, for instance, you became interested in wanting to be an electrician or a plumber or pipe fitter or sheet metal worker. You can use that as a resource. That'll get you in contact with the apprenticeship program for the particular craft. And then you can reach out to them and find out what their application process is, test dates, because each one of these has is separate term, anywhere from 3 to 5 years, and a separate application process. So once you have a resource there to look into it, and that'll connect you to it. Also, the DAS.gov, Division of Apprenticeship Standards, also has a full listing of all the programs statewide, anywhere in the state of California.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
So it looks like we have a couple questions written in the chat box here. So Bill, hold on. Somebody first said that their husband took a few construction and electrician courses in the past. Would they be a good fit for an apprenticeship?
Great question.
Well, yes, I would flip this over to Vanessa. She's with IBW, but I'm also IBW, so I have a bit of experience there as well. So yes, in fact, those looking to get into apprenticeship programs, especially those that have to go before a committee to do an interview, having already shown on their own a general interest in getting into one of the trades is something that apprenticeship committees are looking for. So somebody that's not just doing a broad search for something to maybe try, somebody that has really invested their own time and effort into looking into a particular craft and looking into that apprenticeship program would be a better pick for a committee to pull into and indenture into their program. So that it does pay off.
We also have a similar question to that, a little bit more specific. Somebody said that they know students are completing electrical courses at the College of the Desert, and they're looking to become an apprentice in electrical fields, becoming an electrician apprentice in specifically Coachella Valley. So with that being said, what is a good resource to refer them to if they're trying to find apprenticeships in a specific area? I think we've shared some sources, but can you maybe tell them how to navigate those sources, resources to use that?
Sure. Do you want to take that one, Vanessa? It's particular to IBW.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll take that one. So I'm Vanessa Ingles, like I said previously. I'm with the IBEW. I'm on staff as a organizer / political registrar / membership development. We wear lots of hats. So, but we actually, as Local 440, we represent electricians throughout Riverside County. So that would cover the Coachella Valley. We actually have a satellite hall in the Coachella Valley that we opened just before COVID. So we're in the process of getting that kind of up and going. So at the beginning of the year, we're actually going to have that hall open full time. So that would really be the closest resource to the Coachella Valley to get that apprenticeship information. However, I would like for them to kind of keep in mind that when they apply to that apprenticeship program, it's not limited to the Coachella Valley, that they're signing up and basically saying that they're available to work anywhere within Riverside County. So that's definitely a big factor is transportation and being able to get back and forth, because with construction, right, our jobs are kind of spread out. They're not always going to be right next door to where we're located. But my contact information is in the chat. So if anybody would like to get a hold of me as far as the electrical apprenticeship programs, I can steer you in the right direction.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Vanessa. All right, that's it for questions right now. Again, folks, keep them coming in the Q&A box or chat box. Both can be accessed at the bottom of your screen. Turn it back to you, Rosalinda, for our next section.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Bill, thank you so much for being here today as well, and for hanging out in case there are more questions. We want to go ahead and turn around and look at a couple of building trades and the women that have done it. Not only we can do it, but have done it and are in the trades, excited about sharing their career choice and maybe hearing how they found out about these opportunities and career pathways, what the job has entailed, and what it is to be a young woman or a woman in the trades, and what they're doing now in regards to that. And then I know one of the things that the youth always ask is, well, how much does it pay? You know, what are opportunities? So If you can share a little bit about that, razzle dazzle your pearls. We're going to start off with the Southwest Carpenters Union over here in Southern California. We have Miss Rosie. Let me see if I got this right. Ceniceros? Did I say it correctly? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Rosie, if you can go ahead and give us the we can do it and then share with them that you could do it and you did it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I started about 8 years ago and I was in the field for about 5 years. I'm about to hit my 3rd year mark with the training center and being an instructor. So for me, I got to finish my apprenticeship and became a journeywoman and was around a lot of different characters. I will say this, you have to have some kind of tough skin. You must, it's a must. And not to put any or scare anybody or I don't want to, I saw that somebody was commenting that they can't see somebody who's talking. You guys can see me? Oh, okay.
Oh, you know what? Let me spotlight you. Hold on, let me replace the spotlight. Oh, okay, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for whoever mentioned that. Couldn't see you there. Now you are front and center.
Okay. So just want to tell everybody who is interested in doing the trades, you at least for the carpenters union or when you're more into the construction side of things, I believe you as a woman, we do need to have really tough skin. There's guys out there who are going to be very raw and tell you how it is, and you have to be able to take that kind of constructive criticism and just some plain old criticism sometimes. I've worked with a lot of very skillful older gentlemen and women as well who have been in the trades for probably longer than I've been alive. So sometimes you're going to have people who are good to you and show you how it is. And then there's some people who are scared that you're going to just take their job. But at the end of the day, you're making our job easier if you know what you're doing. So I always tell the young ladies who are coming in into the trades to be open-minded, have tough skin, take things with a grain of salt, pay attention, learn your craft, just, you know, roll with the punches and don't give up, but really learn that craft, because I want to be proud of the women who go out there and say, you know what, I can do it, I kick butt, and you can too, just like we're doing today. I really had to learn my craft. I'm a pile driver by trade. So that means we not only do we do driving pile, and a lot of people think that might be a wrestling move. It's not. and it's nothing that I actually have a jackhammer, and it's not that. Pile drivers do a lot of marina, heavy construction. So we work over the water or in the water. We have divers, we have welders. We work with a lot of metal, so that's why we do a lot of the welding and cutting. But we also work with concrete, so that's why we fall into the carpenters union. We're very much the fasteners of the construction world. So we have the iron workers who, you know, sit there and put the rebar, and then we sit there and we mold it as carpenters. And we're just at every stage where the way I always explain it to a lot of my students is we all eat. Everybody in here in this room, I believe we are all eating just at different times. So, and we all work hand in hand together. So if our walls are going up, then we need to call the Sparkies, right? Vanessa, we got to call you to start putting all the electrical in, and they're there just at the same time that we are. So we all work hand in hand. It's really about choosing what is good and what is right for you. So just be strong. That's what I can say about it.
All right, we may have a couple of questions that are coming up. I think there was one. Keith, can you see that one? I'm having problems opening it up.
Sure, yeah. Let's see here. The question is the person who said I can contact her about Coachella Valley electrician, Ellen? No, it's Vanessa. So she's raising her hand right now. She's with IBEW. So Vanessa, would you mind just making sure it's at the lower part of the chat? If somebody logged in late, they might not have seen it. If you just mind putting in your contact information again, that'd be great.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. So that's the newest question I see here. Are there any other questions for Rosie? I will start out saying, you know, I've actually been working with Rosie on and off a couple different times this year for different events we've been doing. And I didn't know she was working with concrete. So I apologize that I've been so naive. But I think it's so cool because we think of carpenters, right? So we start thinking of wood, framing, or whatever it is. But really, my question for you is, since the Carpenters Union does so much diverse work, what would you recommend for people to try to find their niche in that area? You know, maybe tell us how you found your niche in going into that realm of carpentry, or not necessarily carpentry, but that of the building trades.
You know, what's funny is that I didn't really find my niche. They found me, because what I did was I just remembered I had an ex-boyfriend who, I mean, it just happened to fall into my lap, but I had an ex-boyfriend who made really good money, and I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army. So when I got out of that,
hoorah!
And I went into a whole different, I was a linguist, and then I was trying to just find my niche in life. And I remember him making really good money, and I was like, you know what? I can wear high heels, but I can also wear boots, and I'm okay with getting dirty and being one of the guys, or you know, one of the very few ladies out there. I was willing to get dirty and make that money, though, because I heard how much money they would make, and I would see his paycheck, and I said, you know what? I went one day down to the local, and I said, sign me up. They're like, for what? I go, I don't know, but I went in there. And they called me like a month later, and I love what I do. But I wasn't fortunate enough to have a pre-apprenticeship for women. So I'm so glad. Ironically, I never thought I would ever be in construction, and now I'm an instructor. And so for me, it opened up so many doors, and I'm very proud to be union carpenter instructor. And now I have text messages that come in on a daily telling me I'm so grateful. So for me, I didn't have that opportunity to go into a pre-apprenticeship, but I highly recommend that if you don't know what you want to get into, to narrow it down. Like now I tell people, anybody who wants to be a carpenter, okay, now what kind of carpenter do you want to be? Just like what you're saying, find your niche. So we have, luckily here in Southern California, we have the Brothers Keeper pre-apprenticeship, which is for males, and they do exactly what I do. And for me, it's called Boots, and it's Bridging Outstanding Opportunities with Trade Women's Skills. That's what it stands for. That's the acronym. And I really, in those 4 weeks, I get to show a little bit of everything, whether it be physical projects going up, or at least give a taste of what, show them, give them a tour. I sometimes go on field trips and take them to other places where they can see pile drive being driven.
Wow.
Or
cool.
I try to just, if I can't explain it as well as another instructor, I have 12 other brothers here at the training center, and they can see it for themselves. But I try to do a little bit of cabinet install, interior systems, acoustical ceilings. We're going to be starting up next year. I do a concrete form work project. I do rolling soffit project that's going to be also starting next year. That's going to be more on the bridge side, which is what what pile drivers do. I do cutting and burning and welding to show what millwrights do, and millwrights fall under the carpenters as well. That's our mechanic guys. So if you're just a mechanic person but really wants to do the hands-on but not work on cars, then we have that too. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody. It just happened to fall in my lap, and I enjoyed it. So
that's awesome. So Rosie, I have a couple of follow-ups for you. You mentioned coming by and doing tours. So I think it's a great segue to mention that the Southwest Carpenters Union have a couple training facilities right here in the IE, right?
Yeah, yes, we have Ontario. We have Riverside that just opened up. I actually haven't gone to it. I know they're not too far from one another. So we have Silmar, we have Ontario, Riverside. we have San Diego, we have Buena Park, Whittier, and man, I don't think I'm missing any, but
That's awesome. Yeah,
Really
and the
quick
one in
question on that with the training centers.
Yeah.
What about like if they're in Northern California, like I know that we have some people here from Merced County, up in the northern area, or even the central region of California, if they're interested. I know Bill mentioned, but what is your recommendation for them to reach out there?
I'm thinking, I know we have our Northwestern Council of Carpenters as well. It would be different from the Southwestern Carpenters or Council. But I know I believe we also have a couple of training centers a training center in Bakersfield. I believe I know they have their own training centers for the Northwest. And then it would fall, I believe the cutoff is Bakersfield for the Southwest Carpenters. But overall, we have quite a few. So if you could just look it up. I know Southwest Carpenters Training Fund, so SWCTF, and I'll put that inside .org. I'll put that into the chat as well, and just research on that. But you can just look for the different regions. We're actually all over the U.S.
Wonderful.
The Southwest Carpenters, we cover New Mexico, Utah, Arizona, Nevada, parts of Texas, Southern California, and Colorado.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because can you share with them the opportunity to transfer if they're interested in moving out of state? We have people that want to move from out of state from time to time.
Yes, so I actually transferred. I actually started in the Northwest in Seattle. So I was part of the Northwest Pacific Regional Council up there at 196 in Seattle. And then I actually ended up transferring down here to Southern California. I am from California, so I just happened to make the switch, and I just had to sign some documents and switch over. But it was just that easy. I just had to go and get indentured and find another job to get re-indentured in the Southern California. So if you stay within the Southwest, so those states that I just mentioned, you would have to fill out if you were to start here, or if you just started anywhere else there and decided to move, you would just have to go to your local, let them know that what it is that you're doing, and then they'll let you know what the process is in the next state, and your hours should carry over. So as long as you stay in the same region, you should be good. And if you do transfer regions, like I did from Seattle down to California, all I did was a transfer, and I just had to get re-indentured.
Outstanding.
Awesome. Thanks, Rosie. Yeah, go ahead.
Last
Rosie.
question for you, Rosie. Can you share a little bit of what the starting hourly wages for someone coming in, at least the range more or less, and the potential of how much to make at the end after years of experience?
Sure.
Just so they can get a ballpark experience what these careers pay.
No problem. So depending on what craft you get into, it can range anywhere from $17 or so. And that's at the beginning, first stage. When we say first stage or first period, we normally have 8 periods in a craft, unless you become a millwright, which is 10 periods. And then modular, I believe they only do like 5 periods. So it just depends on where their cutoff is. But we range anywhere from $17.50, the high 17, almost $18 to, we can range anywhere from $18 to about, I've heard 50, 51. It depends if you become a foreman, but there's always room for growth. But in your apprenticeship, you're going to be looking at $45 an hour at the top. And that's the end of 4 years. I know we've been getting a lot of increases in our pay, as far as once every the 1st of July. I know this last contract, we just got a $1 raise in July 1st. We just got annuity. We have a $1 annuity. So for every hour we work, for every hour we work, we get $1. And up to 3rd period, you get $3 or $4 and some change going towards vacation for every hour that you work. And then once you get past third period, you get $5 an hour for every hour that you work.
Constant raises, constant earnings, constant training and opportunity. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Rosie. I know that I'm getting nudged over here about time. So I want to thank you. Thank you for staying on. Definitely want to include you. And I think we're gonna electrify some people in Little Sparky different area now, right?
Nice transition. As we move over to the electrical side, Rose.
First on some more ideas, right? We're already sizzled with Rosie, so spark it up with some more.
And Rosie, if you don't mind, we did have one question for you. Could you share some information about the Brothers Keeper program when you type in information about like the Northwest and Southwest websites in the chat box?
Sure, I'll put it in there.
You can type it in.
Okay, thank you.
Carpenterstrainingfund.org, and you can search it on there. It'll give both programs on there.
Excellent.
Can you put it in the chat box for them, Rosie? Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, next I believe we're going to go back over to Vanessa. Is that correct? Awesome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vanessa Ingles. Like I said, reintroduced myself a few times. I'm with the Electricians Union. We're local 440. We do cover Riverside County. Our apprenticeship program is 5 years. Like they said, kind of every program that you're going to go into is going to be a little bit different. We do have two different apprenticeship programs at local 440. One of them would be for inside wiremen. So that's going to be majority bulk of your electrical work, not the high voltage out on the power lines, but anything from there into the house. And then we do also have a sound and communications apprenticeship as well. That apprenticeship is only a 3-year program. But again, the comparison of the two, the longer the apprenticeship and the more training you have, obviously the more money you'll be earning, at the end of the program. But we do have both available. For me personally, a little bit of background about my story. I have been a member of the IBEW Local 440. I'm coming up on my 15th year. I did go through our 5-year apprenticeship program. When I first got in, my timing was not great. I started as a material handler, which is a pre-apprentice type classification. I started in that classification at 18 years old, and I was attempting to get into the apprenticeship. It's a bit of a process when you're applying. It's not like you can just go fill out a paperwork and the next day you're in. There is a process as far as applying to the apprenticeship program. There's an aptitude test to take and an interview. So I was working as a material handler while I was going through that process. When I was in the middle of that process is when our economy kind of took a crash back in 07, 09 kind of area. So the apprenticeship program was not accepting any more apprentices in at that time until the next school year started. So it took me almost 1.5 years to get into the apprenticeship because of that. However, I was able to work throughout that time as a pre-apprentice and continue to learn and earn a living and all of that. So that is another option that's available. Currently, the classification that I worked as has been renamed, and it's kind of been a standard throughout the country. Before, when I was in that, it was kind of just a classification that was created here within our local union. So now there's a standard classification for pre-apprentices with our union throughout the country. That classification is called a CW, and that stands for construction wireman. So again, some of you that might be interested in getting into our apprenticeship program, that's a great way for you to get your foot in the door, if you will. You're able to go to work and start working in the field, kind of get your hands dirty and see if this is the industry that you would really like to be in. Apprenticeship is a commitment. 5 years is quite the commitment, so you definitely want to make sure that this is what you're interested in before you waste any of your time or any of the local union or training centers time, energy, money, right? So with that, I got into the union because my father, I'm actually 4th generation out of local union 440. Wow. So I kind of always knew that it was there as an opportunity or as an option to a great career that paid good living wages, that had benefits. I kind of saw that throughout my childhood. However, I did not grow up thinking I would be an electrician at all. It was not like as a little girl, I grew up thinking that at all. To be honest with you, after high school, I graduated high school a little bit early, but I really kind of blew off quite a bit of the good opportunities that I had at that point in my life. So I kind of, I ended up actually enlisting in the Army. That was very temporary. It did not go according to plan. However, the way I like to explain it is that that short increment of time that I was in the Army was exactly what I needed at that point in my life to kind of kick me in the ass, if you will, and get my things together to be able to focus on what it is I wanted to do with my life. So as soon as I got out of the Army, I was working with the union within about a week. I was in the field working as a CW and going through the process of applying for the apprenticeship and all of that. One of the reasons with the Tradeswoman Sisterhood, one of the reasons with me starting that and really wanting to try and promote all of these opportunities is for my own experience of that, the IBEW apprenticeship program was the first and the only apprenticeship program that I knew about. And that's kind of why I applied, how I ended up there. But in hindsight, 15 years later and knowing about all of these different programs and all of that, I honestly think personally, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I probably would have been an iron worker or a lineman, but that for me, that's why I think it's so important to make sure that everybody knows about all of the opportunities that are out there, and kind of trying to figure out where they would fit the best within the building trades or the apprenticeship world. Apprenticeship is great. It's a great living. It's a great money and all of that. However, there is a way to kind of take whatever it is you're passionate about, whatever your hobbies are, and then kind of look at all of the different apprenticeships that are out there and see if you're able to implement some of your passions and some of your hobbies as a career and in your living. That's why I think it's great to have everyone here in the room and letting everybody know about all the different opportunities that are out there. Some of the other things that I think are really important is to make sure that everybody knows that apprenticeship is, this just came up because I saw the question in the comments, that construction in general is the industry of second chances. Okay, I saw the question in the comments about asking, is it felony friendly? And to be honest with you guys, if it wasn't for us being the industry of second chances, we wouldn't have very many workers. It definitely is the type of career that, regardless of the background that you've been in, or whatever choices you've made in your life, that we recognize that people grow, they learn. If you've done your time and you're able to, come back into society, that instead of you coming back into society and turning around doing making the same mistakes or something like that, if you're given an opportunity to become a productive member of society, that's really where those changes can take place. I don't know if there's any questions. I can go on all day long, so I don't know if you guys want something specific to talk about. But one of the things I guess I'll touch on, and that Rosie had mentioned, and I think is very important, and again, not to scare anybody off, but the need to have a thick skin, and it's not just in construction, but really any industry you go to, you're going to have haters. If you're doing your job right and you're doing a good job, you're going to have haters, right? You're going to have people who don't want to see you succeed, people who would like to see you, go out of their way to hold you back, whatever, but I have this quote that I heard at a tradeswoman conference one time when I was really early on in my career, and it really just resonated with me. And that's that, let your work speak louder than anything anybody can say.
Well said.
Because if people hear rumors about you, which they're going to, like I said, if you're doing your job right, you're going to have haters and all of that. But instead of, addressing it or engaging with the drama and all of that, just mind your business and keep working your ass off, and it'll get to a point where whoever, that hater is talking to, they're going to hear it and they're going to know better that regardless of what you're saying to me, I've worked with her. I know how she works and I know, all of that. And then I guess one other little thing that I definitely wanted to touch on is the ability for apprenticeship to be, I guess what I'm trying to say is the ability for an individual through apprenticeship and through joining a union to be able to break, the cycles or the chains of poverty. A lot of times people who grew up in poverty are never given opportunities or never shown different ways out of poverty, and so through apprenticeship, you know, as long as you get a high school diploma, all of these opportunities are right there in front of you for you to take advantage of. And then even after becoming a union member or doing their apprenticeship program, there are so many other opportunities or pathways that could lead to, you know. There's different organizations out there that are, you know, their whole nonprofit mission is to help union members and bring us benefits and things like that. You know, one of them I can think of off the top of my head would be Union Plus. You know, they offer for union members a free online associate's degree for not just the member, but any of their financial dependents. You know, so for somebody who grew up in poverty, if one family member gets into apprenticeship, that opens up the opportunity for that entire family to bring themselves out of poverty. You know, within one generation, you could break that chain and you can break that cycle, you know. And then the military experience. Sorry, I took a few notes when Rosie was going. So military experience. I definitely, in my personal experience and all of the women that I've worked with in the industry, I think that having that little bit of time in the military helps with the learning curve of working in a male-dominated industry. As far as, you know, all the different sisters that I've worked with in the industry, the ones that seem to know how to navigate it and all of that, you know, for some reason, it just seems like every time I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, I was in the military, you know, this and that. And I'm like, okay, you already got that learning curve out of the way, you know. So that's absolutely very, very helpful. I guess one more thing about our union is international. So like Rosie was saying, you know, being able to have the ability to transfer, to move and things like that. So the IBEW is an international union. We cover the United States, Canada, and I believe Puerto Rico. So, and then obviously within the United States, we have Hawaii and Alaska, you know. So once you complete your 5-year apprenticeship program and you become a journeyman, you have the ability to travel to any of the local unions within our international and go to work. There is a little caveat on that though, because they have to have work in order to give you a job, right? So you can't just look at the map and say, I want to go to the middle of, you know, Missouri and go there and expect to just have employment. You know, you definitely want to do a little bit of research, call them and see, you know, do you guys have work and all that kind of thing, because the local workforce, the local members are going to have first pick of the jobs. So you want to make sure that there's enough work in the area that you're not trying to take work from those local members, you know, and but you'll be able to stay busy. But the other side of that is that, you know, we have a whole big group of people that we call travelers, you know, and they're the kind of people that all they want to do is make big money, you know, and so they go from overtime job to overtime job, you know, living in either hotels or trailers and just raking in the money, you know. And I know a few of them, you know, actually a sister that just graduated our apprenticeship, I think about 2 years ago. She, as soon as she turned out, she went up to the Bay Area, you know, and every local is going to have different wages. Their contract's going to be a little bit different. So obviously it's usually reflective of the cost of living and market share and all of that, right, within that area. So up in the Bay Area, they have some of the highest wages right now. So she just took her ticket, went up there and has been up there for a few years. And, you know, I know people that they'll go work big jobs, overtime jobs for 6 months out of the year and then take the rest of the year off, you know. So it's, once you complete your apprenticeship, the opportunities and the ability to make money are kind of endless, and they're in your ballpark, you know. I mean, during their apprenticeship, you are required to get, you know, certain number of hours on the job training, certain number of hours in the classroom training and all of that. Well, once you become a journeyman, it's up to you, you know, to go, do you want to work? Do you not want to work? You know, if you're a journeyman and you get dispatched to a call that you don't want to take, you have the ability to say, okay, I don't want that one. I'll go take the next one, you know. So that's definitely a whole lot of freedom and ability to travel and use this career, you know, throughout the country and anywhere you want it to go.
Wow, thank you. Vanessa, just out of curiosity, what is a starting apprentice more or less make here in California when they start off in the early stages?
So currently with Local 440, our first year apprentices, let me grab my wage card real quick. Our first year apprentices are making $18.70 an hour on the check. However, we get paid in a total package. So their total package is $28 an hour and 68 cents. So the difference between those two, and I know it gets a little confusing, the difference between the two is your hourly rate is what you're going to see on your paycheck every week when you get paid. Your total package is the actual amount that you're paid for every hour that you work. But the difference between the two will automatically come off your check. And that's what pays into your pension, your annuity. It covers your health insurance for yourself and all of your dependents, as well as your dues. And one of the things that I try to, how I try to explain the apprenticeship and union dues to people is that it's like a pay it forward type of system, right? You're getting this education and this training at no cost to you, but through you paying your dues, you're ensuring that the next person that comes along is afforded that same opportunity that we gave you,
That's awesome.
So, and then, and again, like Rosie said, we do have a wage allocation. So our increase is actually coming up at the end of December. So those wages are going to go up. Our apprentice rates are based off of a percentage of our journeyman package. So every time our journeyman's contract is renegotiated or a new allocation hits our journeyman's rate, it trickles down as a percentage to our apprentices. So for example, first year you start out at 40%, second year you jump up to 50%, third year 60%, and so forth. So as long as you're completing your on-the-job hours training and you're showing up to class and doing everything that you agreed to do, you're guaranteed those raises until you become a journeyman.
Wow, that's great. And I see Rosie put down there, and that goes the same for the Carpenters Union. Great to hear about that. Do we have any questions? Thank you for that, Vanessa. Wonderful. Yay. Any questions in the chat box that you want to open up before we transition into apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship opportunities with the colleges?
None so far, but definitely folks, encourage you to keep typing them in. Again, you can use the Q&A feature or the chat box feature located at the bottom of your screens.
Wonderful. Well, if we don't have any questions right now, I'd like to move forward on the agenda. So next we have Women in College Apprenticeship Trades. We had a young lady that was going to speak in regards to cybersecurity that was coming out of the launch program, which is part of Riverside City Community College, as well as Moreno Valley College. She took some training here with us here in Moreno Valley College and is now working at Loma Linda University as an apprentice cybersecurity. So she's working there, was hoping to be here, but is not able to be here. But basically, let me share a little bit about that pathway. She did about almost 2 semesters of classes. All the tuition was free, and then she got her job readiness and employment training as well through the college. We have assistants that we provide through the launch program, and they do direct placement with companies that are hiring for apprentices. And it's a registered apprenticeship program with the Department of Labor as well as with the Department of Apprenticeship. So they are able to earn 2 registered apprenticeship cards, and it is a competency-based program. So what'll happen is while they're doing their work-based learning, they'll be earning their wages because they're working, they're an employee of the company, and they're gaining skills with a mentor and getting additional competency-based. So throughout time, those competency-based will eventually be mastered, as well as coming back to the college, taking additional classes to be what we call stackable credentials, certifications, and as well as earning an AA degree. Similar to the trades, but they also have an opportunity to earn an AA degree. So that was a little bit of a nutshell with cybersecurity and IT. If you're interested a little bit more about cybersecurity out here in the Inland Empire, you can always reach out to John Wilson. He offers it at the Riverside City Community College area, as well as over here in Moreno Valley College, where we offer it as well. We work in tangent together with the Riverside Community College District under the launch umbrella. But let's move on to out here in the Inland Empire, as well as throughout the state, there is a lot of supply chains and logistics. We have the Distribution Management Association out here in the Inland Empire that looks and helps out with the many logistics supply chains, as well as manufacturing. We have a huge manufacturing industry out here in the Inland Empire, and we're pretty strong in regards to our work capabilities and the need to have workers out here. And so one of the things that we offer here throughout the Inland Empire in San Bernardino County, as well as in Riverside County, is industrial automation training, as well as pre-apprentice programs. So there's also a registered pre-apprentice program. And I'm going to talk about Chafee College at the Intech Center. And we have a guest speaker here today. Her name is Alexandria Rivas. She will share her story of how she found out about pre-apprentice industrial electrical and mechanical for the logistics and supply chain, as well as for manufacturing, and where her road has taken her and what she was doing before that, what type of school she was doing, where she grew up, and how she got involved and why she is tinkering in this. So without any further ado, Alexandria Rivas, I'd like to introduce you. Thank you so much for coming on video and being here today.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say thank you for everybody for giving such good information out to the high school students, because I wish I had that when I was in high school. I never got that. And I also do want to appreciate all the tradeswomen, because there is a very scarce amount of women in these industries. I grew up in South Central LA. I went to Southeast High School, and it was a pretty good high school for the area. And I still never learned about this. It was expected, you know, go to a JC, junior college, and then try to transfer to a university. But when I was at Chaffey, I went to Chaffey Community College in Rancho Cucamonga for computer science associates and a cybersecurity associates, like the traditional route. I was working in a Walmart warehouse as general labor, and it was exhausting. The pay was decent, and I was just getting over it, you know, physically exhausted every day from, you know, 12-hour shifts and a lot of OT. So I looked into some of the programs at Chaffey, and they had a pre-apprenticeship for industrial, mechanical, and electrical. And it was free for San Bernardino County's residents. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You may want to adjust your camera because it's going upward versus, there you go. That's much better. Much better. Thank you.
Yeah, and so I got into that. It was about a 4-month program, just the introduction to, you know, mechanical and electrical applications, as well as hydraulics and pneumatics. And, you know, we did do our,
sorry,
I don't know if somebody else is speaking. We did do a little bit of welding and concrete, like introductions, but it really did get me interested and a good idea of like, what was I good at? What did I enjoy doing? And now I work at C&W Services, which is a third-party company for Amazon. So I work in Amazon as a maintenance technician too. So I mainly work with robots, like small little robots, and I fix them. That's what I do right now. So, you know, we diagnose their control boards and find what's wrong with them, what they need. We do a lot of, you know, fabrication for the parts that we don't have. So we'll make a lot of, you know, spacers or do what we can, because there are a lot of shortages right now on Amazon due to COVID and things like that. But I make about $30 an hour to start, which is really good for me because I did have like no prior experience in this industry. So I just never would have thought that I would have ended up here. You know, my hands do get dirty and like I stand a lot and I walk around a lot, but I don't mind that at all. Like it doesn't bother me. And for the pay, it won't bother you either. Like a lot of my friends, I'm 20 years old as well. So I am very young and really close to, you know, like the high school students. I just graduated a few years ago. So I don't see a lot of people my age doing this at all. And a lot of the people I work with are, you know, a good amount of years older than me. And they tell me like, it's a good thing that you got into this young because, you know, it's just, everybody realizes it late, like the opportunities that are here. And there's so many, like you go, you know, carpenters union, electrical, like, you know, maintenance world, like there's just endless amounts of trades, and it's just amazing that all these opportunities are out here, but yet they're not really talked about as much. So it's good that, you know, places like colleges like Moreno Valley and, you know, Chaffey, and they're trying to make an impact and get, you know, men and women into these trades. Hopefully more women, because there is, you know, a scarce amount. We could do it too. So, you know, I love to see that it's not just me and a couple other girls, like more women are getting into this, and I share with my friends all the time. Like there's good money here. That's probably the best part. You know, you do love the job, you get really into it. Like when you're starting something and you complete it, it's like, it's the best feeling. So I don't want to keep rambling on, but that's my take on it. You know, it is a really good, it's a lot of good knowledge that you're gaining here, and it's a great field, or there's a lot of great fields to get into. Just find what you like doing and stick with it, and you know, you'll reap the benefits.
So Alexandria, at Chaffey College at the InTech Center, that was a registered with the State of California Department of Apprenticeship Standards pre-apprenticeship program for the industrial, electrical, and mechanical for the logistics and manufacturing industry. Can you share a little bit about the training as far as how many hours per week? You said it was about 4 months. How many hours a week? What type of certification or training or hands-on experience did you gain during that short amount of time?
So it was actually really cool. All of our instructors were actually, you know, people from the trades. They would come after work or during their work hours. So we were learning, you know, like real life problems, like not just straight out of the book. They were telling us, you know, what they do at work, you know, what they use at work, tools, you know, applications and stuff like that. The hours we did, it was about 40 hours a week. It was full-time for sure. And the certification I received was industrial, mechanical, and electrical pre-apprenticeship completion, certificate of completion. And then from there you could, you know, enter into the electrical apprenticeship or the mechanical apprenticeship at Chaffey College, which would be paid for with whatever company you choose that was doing it with Chaffey. Yeah, but we did get a lot of hands-on as well. So it wasn't just sitting down in the classroom. We were outside a lot. We did welding. We did a lot of hands-on with electrical, practice on the Amateur, I believe. We did a lot of Amateur online. Oh my God, like
Can you share a little bit about what Amateur is with the SOC certifications?
Yeah, so we got all the certifications from Amateur, like a lot. It's basically, how do I describe it? It's an online
learning management system.
Thank you. Learning management system that it's hands-on. It's a lot of material to cover, but you get a certificate at the end of each one. And it's just a lot of great information from, you know, tools to, you know, electrical prints to like everything, pneumatics, the basics of pneumatics, hydraulics, and then yeah, and then we got the hands-on in the classroom with the big amateur practice. I'm going blank. Tools, I guess you could call them, because that's what they were used for. And we got the fundamentals down while practicing with those. And you know, we did like concrete outside in the parking lot, like for practice. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. The classroom was great. Everybody got along. It wasn't like too many students. It was about like 20, I believe. So it was a good amount. Everybody got along. We all helped each other learn. There was all types of ages, all types of backgrounds. It was really great, actually.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that's I'd like to share in regards to that is this is a pre-apprenticeship program that particular college offers. And at the completion, IBEW is brought in so that they can transition those that are interested in just doing more electrical. And that seems to be their spark, right? They want to do electrical. Then they go into an apprenticeship program with the IBEW so that they can get the full apprenticeship and master electrical work to be a true electrician. So the basic electrical at the pre-apprenticeship is not you're going to be an electrician. So I just want to share that out. You learn the basic principles, but you're not an electrician at the end of this. You have to go through like IBEW to be a master electrician and go through that. Just like they get a taste of the welding. If they're interested in that, then we transition them to the welding trade so that they can say, you know what, this is what I really like. So it's a good way for pre-apprentice candidates at the college level to get an idea and then consider those other trades like the cement, right? They do a little bit of concrete pour to say, oh, you know what, I kind of like it. Well, if you like this, then at the end of this training, then you want to consider a career as a cement mason masonry with the union trades, and the same thing would go with our Southwest Regional Carpenters Union. We love, transitioning those individuals there. So I just kind of want to make sure that we're clear about that, because we don't want to make it seem like, oh, if you do this, then you become that. No, this is just like we said, it's a pre-apprenticeship, get the basic skills. It shows people that are interested. So when they go into the union trades and apply, they already have some basic fundamentals. But for the manufacturing industry and for the logistics and supply chain, it's enough to get an entry-level position to work on those machines in manufacturing and those machines in logistics, but you're not going to have the full knowledge or training like a master electrician in the union trades as well as in the carpentry or the millwrights and stuff. And I think Bill has a question, and then we'll go ahead and I'm going to pass it over to Keith to kind of bring it on with the next speaker. Go ahead, Bill. And
Okay. Thank you for that. I wanted to weigh in on the pre-apprenticeship, or with North American Building Trades, we have a national apprenticeship readiness program, which is akin to a pre-apprenticeship, utilizing the multi-craft core curriculum. And what it does, it prepares those that take a 120-hour course to enter and successfully complete a registered apprenticeship program in any of the crafts. So it's not craft specific, but it lets everybody know about all the opportunities in construction apprenticeship programs. And in fact, we'll be rolling that out at Moreno Valley College, I think, in the near future here. We have them at San Bernardino Valley, the High Desert up at Victor Valley, and a number of other locations currently. SB1 grants are funding the bulk of these programs right now, and we're going to see a lot more of those coming. So I just wanted to fill in that blank a little bit.
Wonderful, thank you. And then there was a question in there in regards to the math and English skills. You do need to have some basic math and English skills, pass a basic pre-assessment test for that. It's a great question. Alexandria Rivas, thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate you sharing in regards to what it's like for someone coming right out of high school to be exposed to different opportunities and figure out what your niche is in regards to that. And so thank you for sharing and advocating for the young ladies, as well as for the young men to pursue these trades. Keith.
Yeah, so our next and last guest speaker is Angelina Alcantar. Hopefully I said your last name okay. And she's going to talk a little bit about getting into the automotive industry. Angelina, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Keith. Sorry, again, my voice is going out, so I'll do the best I can. So just a quick little background on myself. I'm Angeline Alcantar. I am an ASE Master Certified Technician and have been a faculty member here for the Riverside City College Automotive Program for the last 3.5 years. I started off at Martin Luther King High School in Riverside. They didn't have very many hands-on programs. I was really big into cars. I liked cars. I didn't know anything about them. YouTube was not what it was today, so self-learning was a little bit harder back in those days. And I was more of a tinkerer. I was really into I was more like Fast and the Furious days. I had my first car was a Honda Civic, and so doing my own oil changes and brakes and stuff like that that my neighbor actually taught me how to do. I was like, oh, okay, this is not that bad, and I actually really like this stuff. One of my buddies from high school graduated before I did and said, hey, Riverside City College has this program, you should check it out. I took my first class when I was 17 coming out of high school, and I was so in love with just learning about the technology. It's something I knew that I was really interested in. Unfortunately, my parents weren't super stoked about that at the time. They really wanted me to be a nurse. And so while they didn't know, I was taking my prereqs to get into the nursing program, but secretly I was taking automotive courses on the side. So I was like, well, at least this can maybe be a hobby. And as I went through a couple of years, I was one class away from getting into the nursing program. And I was like, you know what? I'm sorry, Mom, but this is really what I want to do. I've got to look at myself in the mirror every day and see somebody who's happy with what they've chosen in life. And so I decided to switch full-time to automotive. I went through this program, graduated with an Associate's of Science in Automotive Mechanical and another one in Automotive Electrical. This program gave me everything that I have today, in my opinion. The instructors were inspiring, and so I ended up going out into the field as a technician. Once I finished, I worked in independent repair shops. I worked at a Honda dealer for a few years. I worked at a hot rod shop building engines and running electrical for cars. I worked at a hybrid performance shop. So I'm like all over the place. When people say like, oh, well, what kind of cars, you know, are you domestic, are you import? I've worked in all areas of the field. And so now my love for this industry has only grown. I'm in love with how much the technology changes, as much as it makes my job harder. You never get bored. It's never a dull moment. And an opportunity came up to teach at one of our local high schools, Colton High School. So I taught for their automotive program for about 4 years before I came here to RCC. And I wouldn't choose anything else. I love my job. I every day come to work and I think, man, how did I get so lucky? How is it that people pay me to do this? So I'm very much in love with it now. Starting last semester, RCC had just started the apprenticeship program, or its involvement in the apprenticeship program, and getting to work with John Wilson, our apprenticeship director. We've had some pretty incredible opportunities that we've been able to provide to students. We've placed tons of students already from our program, which are all still employed. What we've done is we built a pool of students who are exceptional. They do really well in class. They maintain a certain GPA and attendance, and they've proven to either me or their other instructors that they're serious about this in a career. And then on the other side, we've built a pool of employers. I've been fortunate enough to sort of been around the block in the automotive industry in Riverside, to have been made a lot of connections in industry, and networking is so huge. I try to tell students half the work is knowing what you're talking about and being good at what you do, but the other half is really knowing people and knowing the right people to open up those doors of opportunity for you. And that's what we're trying to do here at RCC in our automotive program, is open up those doors and opportunities for students to be able to get those jobs that they wanted. So we work with Ford very closely. We work with Toyota dealerships. We work with Nissan, Honda, Moss, the entire Moss Auto Group. That's a big one that a lot of people have already heard of. Private repair facilities. We're sort of all over the place. We're currently working to get students jobs with BMW and Mercedes. So that level of that sort of different level of automobile that requires more attention to detail and that higher level thinking, we're able to provide those opportunities to those students because they're very well paying jobs. Those are the types of careers that are going to pay your house payment and feed your kids. And that's what we want to provide to our students. And that's what we have been so far, working collaboratively with John and our other colleague, Sarah. We've got this ball rolling, and it just keeps going faster and faster. More and more students are hearing about the program and are excited to be a part of it. Word is getting out. More employers are being very excited to work with us, and they want a piece of what we got going on. Currently, right now, we just changed our certificate patterns here at RCC. So it used to be just mechanical and just electrical. We've broken it down into more bite-sized chunks, depending on what area of the industry students want to work in, whether that be engine performance, electrical specialists, hybrid and EV specialists, powertrain specialists, undercar, doing brakes and chassis work. We provide certificate patterns for each of those, so students can really hone in the specific areas that they want to work in. But we've also made them stackable. So if they want to become a master tech and be able to go out onto the line and work bumper to bumper, they can do that. And we provide that sort of training. I pride myself in our program. I think we've got an excellent automotive program. Me and our other instructors have worked collaboratively to make that happen, make sure that we all go to the most up-to-date trainings, to make sure that we're providing the most up-to-date material for our students that are coming out in order to be, competitive in this job market. And, so far things are working out really, really well. But that's sort of my spiel a little bit on my background. I just want to sort of piggyback on Rosie's comment and even Vanessa about needing thick skin. If you're in a trade, whether you are a man or a woman, you need thick skin. It's a different, they're real people, and they're going to say things that are going to offend you. And sometimes you just got to brush it off and keep moving forward. And sort of, in a sense, you do have to let your work speak for itself. Like Vanessa said, I completely agree. And once you've done that, you don't have to tell people how great you are. You simply show them, and that respect is earned amongst your colleagues in the industry. And that I feel like has helped me build that network. And now some of my friends who I was technicians with are now shop owners and are asking me, hey, do you have anybody that I can hire? And it's just really, really cool to see everything sort of come full circle in that way. And the biggest thing that I would preach, and to sort of end on this note, is man or woman, I think it's really important that you're passionate about what you do and you like it. You're the one who has to wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, and look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm happy with what I do. I'm proud of what I do. If you achieve that, then people say you don't work a day in your life. I mean, it's still work, but darn it, I'm happy to do it. So that's the message I'll leave you with. Thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you for inviting me to speak.
Thank you, Angelina.
Wow.
Angelina, can you just talk about a little bit about the women that we've had come into the apprenticeship program and kind of the path they're on?
So it's actually very interesting. I came from a different time. I started taking classes here at RCC in 2006. So there were not many women then. I can, count on one hand how many women I saw going through the program, and even less who finished the program. That's starting to change. We're starting to see women in many of the classes. So it's almost more rare to have classes that don't have any women in it. So we're seeing that number grow. Currently, we have a couple of apprentices that are female in the automotive program right now, that are already doing really well. One has gone through Jiffy Lube, and she's looking to try to get hired at a local BMW dealer. Another one is just getting started at Jiffy Lube. It's actually really awesome. This one student, her name is Maria. She actually came from another university and was going for mechanical engineering, and decided that she actually just wants to get her hands dirty instead, and decided to go for automotive. And so now she does exceptionally well in class. She's mechanically inclined. She's very bright, but hasn't worked in a shop yet. So we're getting her feet wet with Jiffy Lube before we move her into a dealership, and eventually to become one of her goals, which is a master tech. So it's just really cool to be able to watch everything step by step happen, and these students grow like that.
How inspiring. That's wonderful. Thank you, Angelina. Thank you so much. Vanessa's going to say something really quick, and then we're going to open it up for a few questions. I know that we didn't have an opportunity to do it for Alexandria, but we'll go ahead and do it for Alexandria and for Angelina and anyone else. But Vanessa, before we do that, you can kick us off 30 seconds.
Yeah, sorry guys. I had just one more little thing I wanted to throw out there that I forgot to mention when I was talking is the Tradeswomen's Sisterhood as a resource for all of you. The Tradeswomen's Sisterhood is a volunteer organization. We promote opportunities available to women in the building trades. Usually they're the building trade, the NAB2 affiliates, apprenticeship programs. But the second side of what we do is trying to connect women who are interested in the trades and in apprenticeship to those who are already established for mentorship. Having a resource and somebody who can kind of explain to you some of the things that we had to learn the hard way to hopefully save you a few headaches, a lot of times mentoring and having that person to reach out to could make the difference as far as retention goes. And then the third little branch that we do as Tradeswomen's Sisterhood is we actually try to host networking events for women in the trades. We don't get together very often. We don't run into each other on the job, even less. So just to try and kind of get together, break bread, build a little bit of solidarity and things like that. So definitely, if you guys have any questions, or even if you have somebody in a different part of the country who's interested in apprenticeship or just wants to know what's available, the Tradeswomen Sisterhood is a resource to help connect you to resources as well as women who are established in your area.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Really quick, I know we're at the 11:31, but we'll go ahead and maybe do 1 or 2 minutes with everyone's permission. Any questions for Angelina or for Alexandria? So on behalf of Moreno Valley College and the City of Moreno Valley, in collaboration with the California Placement Association and SB Connect with the schools of San Bernardino, the school district out there, we want to thank you for being part of today's event. This is the We Can Do It Women in Apprenticeship as part of the National Apprenticeship Week here in California.
No, this is great. Thanks everybody for being here. To our attendees, we really value that, and especially to our panelists. We appreciate all that you do to be trailblazers for women to follow behind you. So,
oh, well said. Any last words, Alan, on behalf of the Department of Apprenticeship Standards?
Yes, on behalf of the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, we want to literally continue these partnerships. We're not only in the building and construction trades, but we are building in healthcare, industry, information technology, cybersecurity, arts and entertainment, hospitality, accounting, and finance. So we are here to definitely continue to tighten these partnerships. And literally, I grew up helping my father as his helper for construction. So I didn't know about apprenticeship programs until I actually worked for the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. So to be a part of this movement and start building these pipelines and pathways is very exciting. Happy National Apprenticeship Week. Earn and learn with little to no debt, i.e. strong.
Woo-hoo! That's right. Any last comments, anyone else? That's right. Happy to be here. Happy to be part of the state of California, and all of you that are listening out there. And Inland Empire is strong, and we're excited, as many of your counties out in California are as well. So kudos to all of you for promoting this and sharing this with your youth, with your high schools, with the community at large. And please continue to share, and we'll eventually get this on YouTube as well. With that, we say goodbye